go outside and do stuff. Yeah, you did. Good.
So we actually went to the beach.
Bug bites.
Bug bites everywhere.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, they're coming out now, aren't they? They love their meals.
They sure do. Yeah, they love us.
Yeah.
Since I was a kid, I've had bugs biting me. But luckily, no pollen allergies this year.
Oh, good.
They really healthy. What about you?
Nothing, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm working on the garden a little bit. We'll see. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. You are an expert. You can teach us.
Can you come to your easy seat like this?
I can just stay.
Okay. That'd be for free. Did you see it on the board?
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna work through, for folks at home, there's a bit of a glare on the TV, but we're working through a series of 9 poses. And today's our gentle and easy day. So we're taking it super easy and starting in our easy seat as we did with our last stretch. Just starting to align the body, that's always our focus first. So we come to these 3 points in our body by first tucking the hips, and then bringing the chest up and out by pushing those shoulders up, back and down. And then we lift from the chin just slightly so that our noses are slightly up towards the sky, our necks are nice and neutral. And here's where we can come for a big breath to align our bodies. You hold and release. Good, we'll repeat that 2 more times together. So 3 big breaths into your nose. Hold it there and release. One more time, into the nose. Hold it there and release. Beautiful. So something I say a lot in our breath, our time of meditation, is to include a prayer breath. So I wanted to share with you the pray method. It's an acronym, PRAY. The first is praise. So you're asking yourself what's amazing about God. Second, R, repent. What are you sorry for? A, ask. What do you need God's help with? And Y, yield. Slow down, listen, and yield to God's will. So I'll have this up here so that as I'm including that prompt of, what's your prayer breath right now, these are some questions you could ask yourself to come up with a sort of response to that. And take a breath with that question, meditate on it for a moment, because today our focus is meditation and just slow movement with our breath. So we're breathing into our nose, holding and releasing as we meditate on those questions together. So let's kind of work backwards through this series of poses. We're going to start on our knees by just choosing one side to push towards, pushing into those palms about shoulder width apart, aligning those with the shoulders, and then pushing the hips back to the heels. This is our child's pose. We're gonna start, let me come here so our friends at home can see how we're gonna start melting our chest and head down to our mat. And here we're just focusing on making our bodies small. We're not gonna focus too much on posture today. And as you feel more and more comfortable, you can continue to find depth and deepen this stretch by walking those fingertips towards the front of your mat and continuing to close that space between your hips and your heels. And to do so, we just pair this movement with our breath in through the nose, holding it there, and then pushing. Good, to relax into this position, continuing to melt into your mat. Great job. And so this prompt is for about 30-second holds. We'll hold it for a little shorter than that just so that we have time to get through every pose and hopefully repeat through a couple of them. But starting here in child's pose is a great way to just align ourselves and melt into our mat, finding our center and focusing on that breath. Coming into ourselves and then starting to open up on our inhale, back to that tabletop where we're putting our shoulders directly over our wrist, our hands here about shoulder width apart. And now starting to align the knees as well, about shoulder width apart, under the hips. Good. We're going to start to push those knees back, and walk the feet down to the floor as we close those forearms in. Good. Letting our ribs and lower stomach melt into our mat while keeping just our heads up before pushing those palms to either side of our shoulders to bring the head and neck up off of our mat. Still maintaining contact with our lower stomach, but just lifting those ribs and especially finding length through the head and neck here. So again, that same way that we pushed our chin and our nose slightly up towards the ceiling, we're doing the same now. Feeling that stretch through our front. And if you'd like to place a pillow or a block under your ribs here for some extra support, that's always a great option. Again, feeling the breath as we breathe here. In through the nose, hold, but then release. Good, we're here for one more breath. And we're exhaling. Bodies back down to our forearms. Good. You can put your fists back down and the balls of your feet back up so that you can start to push back into those palms and balls of your feet up to your knees to our tabletop, where we're going to find strength in our toes so that they can hold us up as we push our hips up toward the ceiling and heads down toward our mats. So my gaze is now towards my toes in a downward dog pose. Good. Again, holding this for 3 breaths. Deep breaths into your nose. Holding there and releasing fully. Deepening our stretch as we do so. Good job. Continuing to close that space between the chest and knees here. Melting that head down. The balls of the feet, toes, and palms stay strong, holding our weight here, pushing into our mats. We're here for one more breath. And then we're inhaling. Good. Exhaling our knees back down. Good. And coming back to that tabletop position before deciding on a side to turn towards. So that we can land on our hip here. I'm going to come towards my left. And I'm going to open up my body now towards the ceiling. Allowing one vertebrae to melt down at a time to come down onto my back, the opposite direction. And here we're going to stay for just a moment again, similarly to how we warmed up our body the other way with our child's pose. Here we're facing upwards and melting our body into the mat this way. So I encourage you to put your hands up toward the ceiling, palms up, towards either side of your hips. Spine is nice and straight here. Still tucking that tailbone in slightly to keep the core engaged. And relax those shoulders to keep our chest nice and open. Chins are up slightly for neutral necks. Great job. And so we've lost our airplane. I can get it back on. Let's turn on our quiet music. So we can continue our sequence. We're going to start by just bringing one knee up to our chest at a time. Starting here on my left, I'm just pushing at the top of my knee in towards my chest. We're here for 3 breaths. Good. On our exhale, we're going to bring that foot back down to our mat. Knees continue to stay bent as I bring the other knee now up towards my chest, closing the space between the knee and the shoulder on that side. Same thing, we're here for 3 breaths. Continuing to close that space as we exhale. Good, and now on this breath, we're going to exhale that foot back down. And if you're able, you can bring both knees together
gluing them shut so that they're staying together as you push them both together down to your chest. And what we're gonna focus on here is keeping our lower back in contact with our mat here. So we're not lifting our lower back, focusing that stretch instead through the sides of the hips. Good, same thing, 3 breaths for each pose. And now we're gonna exhale those feet back down, knees stay bent about shoulder width apart. Realigning the body here, we can put our hands again to either side of the hips, palms up toward the ceiling. And then I'm gonna start with the same leg I began with for the other pose. I'm gonna put now my ankle across the opposite knee. So my left ankle is gonna just sit right on top of my right knee. Starting to open now through the middle of the hips. So we focused first on stretching outside. Now we're focusing on the inside of the hips. This one might be a little tighter, so you might notice even as you bring that ankle up to the knee, some tightness through the hip there. We're gonna take it nice and slow. If you're able, you can lift that opposite foot and push both legs in toward your chest, providing a gentle push on that knee that you've bent. Your ankle across the other side. So my left hand is on my left knee, providing a gentle push here to deepen that stretch through the inside of the left hip. Meanwhile, my right hand is on my right hamstring, doing the same, just gently pushing that right knee in towards my right shoulder. Closing that space to create some different areas of tension. Deepening that stretch through the left hip for one more breath. And then exhaling, right foot back down, and left foot back to its spot, realigning hands to either side. Good, so that I can switch, inhaling, right ankle to the left knee. Good, aligning here. And then pushing that left knee in towards the chest. Good, my right hand can provide a gentle push out on my right knee, while my left hand pushes the left knee in. Pushing in opposite directions, deepen that stretch now through the inside of the right hip. One more breath, continuing to deepen our stretch through the right hip. And then releasing with a big exhale. Left foot back down. Nice and slow, bringing that right leg back down. Same way we started, both knees are slightly bent, about shoulder width apart. And again, palms are up towards either side of the hips. Just melting here. For just a moment before we turn to hopefully the opposite side that we came down onto. So I came down on my left side and I'm going to turn towards the right. And same thing, come up into our tabletop. This is kind of our transitional pose to get us between sides here. So take it nice and slow and realign the body again here. This is our kind of home base where we align ourselves, shoulders over our wrist and hips over our knees. Good, once you're comfortable here, you can start to push just one foot up towards the front of your mat. So I kind of round out the upper half of my body towards the right side, and then I'm gonna windshield wiper that left foot forward. Good, so that we can come down straight into our low lunge. If you'd like to keep your hands on either side of your ankle and push your chest into your knee, that's an awesome adapted way to come into this pose. If you find that you have the core strength to come right up into your low lunge, I encourage you to do so. It also takes some flexibility through the right knee there. So pay close attention to how the knee is feeling, holding your weight here. starting just by finding our balance through the front foot and the right knee, the back knee. Good, and as you feel able, you can start to stretch the hips down by pushing that front knee forward just a little. We don't want to go beyond the top of our toes here, but we can deepen the stretch just by pushing into that front knee. Good, again here for one more breath. Exhaling, hands back down to the ankles if you're not already here. Shifting your weight to the opposite side so that you can windshield wiper that front foot back and come back to your tabletop. Again, aligning the body here, shoulders over the wrist and hips over the knees. Once we're comfortable here, we can windshield wiper the opposite foot forward. So our right foot this time. Our upper body is shifting towards the left side to get that foot strong and stable towards the front of our mat. If you'd like to bring that right hand to the opposite side and just put your left and right hand on either side of your right ankle. That's an awesome adaptive way to practice this pose. Again, just closing that space between the knee and the chest. If you're finding stability through your core here, you're welcome to come straight up into that lunge. Again, noticing how that back knee is feeling, really good. Good, and we're staying here for one more breath. As we exhale, we can push into that front knee. Continuing to find depth through the right side. Again, this requires some strength in that back knee, so let's notice how that back knee is feeling as we push into that right hip. Our knee is not passing our toes here, so that we're maintaining this stretch through the hip. Great, we're here for one more breath, and then we're exhaling. Good, hands back down to either side of the ankle. Again, our chest comes to meet our knee, and then we'll shift our weight towards the left side to shift that front foot back. Back to our tabletop, we're realigning here, great job. And then we're gonna push back up to our downward dog. The same way we did before, we're gonna bring our toes up behind us so the balls of our feet can push our knees up and our hips into a point until our shoulders are stretching a little bit straighter, allowing our head to melt down to our mat where we're gazing at our toes in our downward dog. And from here, this is a good transitional pose to walk us into our forward fold. So if you're able to come straight into our forward fold here, go ahead and do so. If you need to lift your upper body and just keep that gravity pulling you down as you bring those feet together about shoulder width apart for your forward fold here. You can come all the way to the knees, reach those hands down to your ankles, whatever's comfortable for you so that you can be comfortably in a forward fold pose where your knees are slightly bent, your hips are up, and your head is down. Gravity's doing the work for you, just stretching that upper half of your body as you continue to find stability through the feet and lower body here. Allowing your weight to fully drop down to your mat, tucking that chin slightly. Good, we're here for one more breath. And then nice and slow, we're gonna bring our hands up to our knees. Good, so that we can start to walk the feet out to either side. And notice how I'm keeping the upper half of my body sort of low here. I'm maintaining that hinge through the hips as I walk the feet out so that I can keep that center of gravity as I start to push just one foot to my side. So my right foot is staying forward, my left foot is stretching towards the left. I'm gonna bend into that left side, keeping my center
of gravity down, and my hands will both come down to that front knee. So I'm starting to shift my weight towards my left knee, keeping my chest pointed downwards so that my gaze is down to my toes here. Good. And as you feel comfortable and balanced here, you can start to walk back that back foot and continue to lower into that lunge toward your left side. Good, we're walking that right foot back. Now let's continue to add some depth by pushing that left knee forward. Again, not surpassing those toes so that we're keeping that stretched in our upper body, specifically our hips here. We don't want to stretch into our ankles or lower leg. We want to keep that stretch focused in our hips. Good, we're here for one more breath. And then we're starting to bring the feet back together, same thing, just pushing back into a little wider than shoulder width apart. Center of gravity is still down, so my gaze is still between my feet here, and my chest is still pointed downward, hinged hips behind me. And same thing, I'm keeping my hands here on my knees to keep myself centered and stable. Again, this is a transitional pose. We find these transitions really important to help us transition between poses, maintain our stability and strength as we move into our next lunge. Again, pointing that right foot towards the right side. Good, starting to shift the weight there. I'm gonna come right into it this time, putting the left foot back and shifting my upper body towards the right side. Right into our right lunge. Good, we know what to do a little better now, guys. Hopefully we'll feel a little more comfortable coming into this lunge. Finding our balance a little quicker so that we can continue to find that depth, walking that foot back, and our front knee can start to bend towards those front toes. And the upper body stays relaxed here. Chest down toward our mat and our gaze toward that front foot, toward our toes. Good, we're here for one more breath. And then we'll inhale to walk it back. Bring those feet slightly closer together and hands stay here at our knees. Great job. So that we can find ourselves back at this center. And then walk the feet together to fall right back into our forward fold. Good, however's comfortable for you, a forward fold is just focused on letting gravity pull the upper half of your body down towards your mat. So continuing to find that stability in the feet here. Now they're closer together, about shoulder width apart. Keeping those knees bent slightly so they're not locked in place at all. Hips are still hinged behind us here. Good, tucking that chin slightly, keeping that nice and neutral. We're here in our forward fold one last time for 2 more breaths. Good, as we exhale, let's walk those hands toward the front of our mats and feet back into our downward dog. Great work, our gaze is between our feet here. Still keeping those knees bent slightly so they're not locked at all. We're here for one more breath. And as we exhale, we bring our knees back down to our tabletop, that transitional pose we've been coming back to. Great job. So again, shoulders and hands about shoulder width apart, hips and knees the same, stacking
each limb over one another so that we're finding our alignment here in our tabletop position. Staying here for one more breath. And then exhaling to push into our child's pose. Hands stay forward and hips press back to our heels. Great job melting into our mat and continuing to close that space between our chest and our knees here. Chins are tucked slightly. Letting our head hang down between the shoulders here. And we're here for one more breath. And we're pushing up from the top of our heads back to our tabletop, where we're going to choose one side to fall towards. The same way we practice, taking it nice and slow to bring our body back up towards the ceiling. Our forearms support us as we lay one vertebrae at a time. Facing upwards this time. Again, we'll stay here for just a moment so we can align our bodies the opposite direction this time. Good. I encourage you to put your hands up towards the ceiling, palms up. A physical form of saying, I'm here, ready to receive. Beautiful. We're here for one more breath. And then we're choosing one knee to bring in to the chest. Starting with my left knee, I'm just going to use both of my palms to push that knee in towards my chest. While again, maintaining contact of my lower back with my mat here. So without lifting the lower back, I'm pushing that left knee into my left side. Good, we're here for one more breath. And we're exhaling back to our center, realigning with our palms up toward the ceiling. And as we inhale, let's bring that right knee in towards the right shoulder. Same thing, palms are on top of the right knee, just providing a gentle push, closing the space between the right knee and the chest. Good work. We're exhaling that right knee back down, coming back to our center. And this time, bringing the ankle across the opposite side. So my left ankle on top of my right knee. And this time providing pushes in opposite directions. Same thing, my right hand is on my right hamstring, pushing inwards. My left hand is on my left knee, pushing outwards. Stretching the inside of that hip. Good, here for one more breath. We exhale, right foot back down. Unwrapping that left leg, bringing the left foot back down. Nice and slow, opposite leg to opposite knee. Again, my right ankle to my left knee. I'm gonna push up both knees, good, and then provide that gentle push, opposite sides to stretch the inside of the hip here. Right hand on the right knee pushing outward, left hand on the left knee pushing inward. Here for one more breath. And then we'll exhale, both feet back down, nice and slow. Take notice of how the hips are feeling here. They may need a quick hip stretch, moving the knees from side to side, some hip openers. Good, always a good way to find our center and realign. And if we're able, of course, bring those knees together, keeping those big toes touching so that we can encourage the legs to stay together as we push down both knees into the chest together. Again, lower back is staying in contact with my mat here, so that I'm not lifting at all from my lower back, and instead focusing the stretch just through the hips. We're here for one more breath. And we're exhaling, both legs back down. Great job. The same way we started, we're gonna move to the opposite side. Our palms gonna catch us so that we can push back up to our tabletop. Great job. We're back to our tabletop, realigning here. And the same thing we did with our lower lunge, we're gonna windshield wiper, just one foot forward. Good, shifting our weight to the opposite side. And then bringing our hands either to either side of the ankles and allowing the chest to meet the knee here, or pushing up using the strength of our core to keep us stable and strong as we come into our low lunge here. And find our depth by pushing into that front knee. Good, this is a bit of strengthening for those hips as well. We always combine our stretching with strengthening here. But if you're finding difficulty or any challenge holding yourself up with your core here, do bring those palms down. And just push that knee into the chest. Good. Finding strength in the hip this way. As well as you bring the foot back and windshield wiper the same way back to our tabletop. Realigning in our transitional tabletop. Shoulders over the wrists here and hips over the knees. Good. We're here for one more breath. And now on your next inhale, let's go ahead and windshield wiper that opposite foot to the front of our mat the same way we practiced, coming into our low lunge, shifting our weight to the opposite side to walk that foot forward and feel that stretch through now the left inside of the hip. Good, shifting our weight now to either side of the ankle, so the hands are here on either side of our left ankle. Pushing that left knee into our chest. And again, you can stay right here and push that knee forward as you push your chest into that knee, or you can start to engage the core and rise up into your low lunge, where you're gonna find depth by pushing just into that knee, but not beyond the toes, keeping that stretch through the inside of the left hip. Beautiful. We're here for one more breath. Straightening that hip. And now on our next exhale, we're going to bring the hands back down. Good. Again, pushing that knee into the chest, then shifting our weight to the opposite side to windshield wiper that foot back and come right back into our tabletop. Great work. So we're here in our tabletop position. We've practiced a lot of great poses today. Now we're starting to cool down. So you can choose to either widen your knees here and bring the big toes together to feel your child's pose, especially through your hips. Or you can maintain that same position with your knees and feet about shoulder width apart to push back into our child's pose. I'm going to demonstrate how I widen my stance just a bit. So I widen my knees, I bring the toes together, and then I push the hips back to the heels that way. This way we feel more of a stretch through the inside of the hips, what we've been practicing with. And we're able to find more depth through the chest as we melt into our mat, tucking the chin slightly and allowing our head to hang here between the shoulders again. Good, walking those fingers forward, continuing to find length and depth as we inhale and exhale deeply here. We talked about again our PRAY acronym, combining those questions with our movement, our prayer breath. Let's do that now. We're going to stay here for 3 breaths, just silently praying and breathing together. we're actually gonna stay here for 3 more breaths. We're gonna challenge ourselves to hold this child's pose. If you'd like a challenge, you can definitely weave one palm under the opposite shoulder. So my right palm is coming under my left shoulder. My right ear is resting on top of my right shoulder as I gaze towards the left fingertips here. As you inhale, you can bring that hand back to the front, exhaling it to walk those fingers forward. Inhaling, opposite hand under the opposite shoulder, exhaling, relaxing that ear down towards the shoulder, gazing towards your fingertips here. Excellent, good job. We're gonna stay over one more breath. Inhaling to come back to the front, exhaling, walking those fingers forward just one more time. And then as we inhale, we'll come back up to our transitional tabletop. Great work. So just one more time, we're gonna flip over to our side. Same way we practice, bringing our body back down, nice and slow. And just this movement alone is great practice for strength training, mobility. These simple poses are so important to help us maintain our mobility and strength through injury, through aging, all the things. So we're back here in this transitional pose with our knees up and our palms up. Stayed here for one more breath. And as we exhale, let's extend the feet to the bottom of our mat so that we find ourselves here in Savasana, where we're gonna finish for our evening. And I'll share with you as we're here meditating together and continuing our breath in Savasana, a quote by John Wesley, the founder of the Methodist Church. He says, "None of these temporal things are yours. You are only stewards of them, not proprietors. God is the proprietor of all. He lodges them in your hands for a season, but still they are your property." And so this is the quote I've heard and seen said so many different ways. But it's just a reminder to us that the work that we share here on earth is temporary, and the work and the ways that we give are not always our own, but instead the calling of God and the Holy Spirit working within us. And so the things that we're proud of and the things that we're confident in, we find confidence through Christ, and we share those things lovingly, faithfully, because we know that they are His work and we are His sheep here to serve Him. So as we meditate on that together, let's continue those big breaths. Continue with our prayer breath with our pray method. P, praise. What is amazing about God? R, repent. What are you sorry for? A, ask. What do you need God's help with? And Y, yield. Slow down, listen, and yield to God's will. This quote by John Wesley reminds us that God's will is our truth, is our reality, and is our call. So as you pray here together, continue to breathe deep belly breaths and fill yourself with the call of God, hearing what your Creator God has to say to you tonight. Yielding together now to stop, pray, and listen. We'll be here quietly for 3 breaths. And now as we close our practice, we'll finish in prayer. So you can start to wake up your body. Bring those hands back up towards the ceiling. So our palms are just facing up towards the ceiling, again as a form of openness and a signal of praise as we share a prayer together. Holy God, our Creator, our Lord, invite us into a trust that is deeper than our circumstances. When life feels unsteady, draw our hearts back to your goodness. When our emotions swirl or our bodies carry the weight of stress, breathe your calm into our minds and steady our spirits. Remind us that your love and mercy never leave us, not in confusion, not in difficulty, not in moments we feel least grounded. You are a provider, our sustainer, the one who meets our every need. As we turn to you now, open us to your peace and anchor us again in your faithful care. Amen. So we'll come around with this right of our love. If you're able, and start to
Thank
lay
you.
your body up. Yes, thanks for
Good
coming.
job, Debbie. You were so creative.
There you go.
Thank you so
Would you like
much.
some?
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for your patience for our
You're
noisy
so
meditation this evening.
Yes, thank you. Man, you should be like a pastor.
Well, thank you,
You
Bob.
are so smart.
I used to be so interested in the idea of seminary. Did you grow up in the church at all? I feel like